Well, a very good morning. Welcome to UBC TV. Good morning, Uganda Extra. Today, my name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka on this 31st day of this month of August in this year 2021. Now, this is the last day of this month. And of course, after today, we'll start a new month and the month of September. We thank God that He's brought us this far. And of course, this March that we're still here. To just remind you that COVID is still with us. And we need to ensure that we observe all the SOPs. Wash our hands with running water and soap. Sanitize whenever you can. Put on a mask rightly, especially when you are in public, and also try to socially distance or physically distance whenever you can. But let's do all the other things which can be done. We can put on masks, we can wash, we can sanitize to ensure that we fight COVID out of this country of Uganda. We can be like the other countries where COVID rates have really gone down and life is getting back to normal. We also need to get back there, but it takes all of us to do what we need to do to ensure that we manage it. Remember, COVID is bad, it kills. We have lost people to COVID-19. Away from the discussion of COVID, or just the reminder for COVID-19, we now get to our discussion today. And joining me in studios this morning is Mr. Francis Chisirinya. He's the Acting Executive Director of the Private Sector Foundation. Joining us here today to talk about the Private Sector Foundation. You're very welcome, Mr. Chisirinya.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jagenda. And thanks very much, our viewers, this morning.
Well, a very good morning once again. Thank you so much for making time to join us and to be here with us on UBC TV today. The Private Sector Foundation, commonly, of course, referred to as Psfu, to just get to the minds of those who are watching us, Ruben Impima Chiverango being one of them. He wants to know what Private Sector Foundation is.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chiverango. Private Sector Foundation is a private organization which was founded by the business community, working with the donors and the government way back in 1995. They formed it to represent the private sector, to lead the private sector, and to serve the private sector in Uganda. So our work is mainly about representation, representing the private sector. Colleagues, you might ask, why should we represent? If you look at the SME policy, Small Business Policy of 2015, it tells us that we have about 1.5 million business establishments. And these are the formal ones, the ones that have registered. But those just account for about 43% of all business establishments in Uganda. So it means 53% are not registered. So you are talking about anywhere close to 4 million businesses, establishments in Uganda. Now, all these establishments must be represented. So our job as Private Sector Foundation is to represent all those business establishments. Put simply, we say very clearly that whoever is not an employee of government, does not receive a paycheck from government, is actually a private sector person. And those are the people we represent.
What's the difference between you as a PSFU and Uzia and UMA?
Now, for us as PSFU, we are the apex. We are on top. Now, the people or the organizations that are our members are the sector associations that you, for example, mentioned, like UMA, Uganda Manufacturers Association, like Uganda Small Scale Industry Association, Uganda Bankers Association, Uganda Farmers, and many of them. Actually, we have about 270 associations today. Now, those associations under them, they are all those established businesses that work under them. Okay. And there are thousands upon thousands of them. So they associate in their sector associations, and then those associations now become the members of Private Sector Foundation. Okay,
that means at Private Sector Foundation, you do not have individual companies, you have associations, is that so?
Yes, majority of the members are associations. There are only few companies that come in as direct members, but those are very specific multinational companies, and the very big ones, because we appreciate that their issues seem to cut across. For example, if you look at like a big manufacturer, call it like Mukwano Industries, which all Ugandans know. So the Mukwano Industries its business cross-cuts many sectors. It manufactures, it participates in agriculture, participates in logistics, and so many other sectors. So meaning that you cannot really place it in one sector association. Yes, it can be in a sector association where it feels most comfortable, but from the way it operates, it actually associates with the others. So that's why it can come to the PSFU, because it cuts across many sectors. And very few companies really are able to do that, and it is those that meet that level that can be direct members of PSFU.
So how big is your membership?
Our membership, as I said, is
270
associations, and under those associations there are hundreds of thousands of businesses, and we know from the last count that there are over 500,000 business establishments.
500,000 of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very important. Now, what's your core mandate as PSFU?
Now, for us as PSFU, as I said, our core task to begin with is to represent, to engage, and serve the private sector. So to serve this core mandate, we do this by, first of all, researching to ensure that we are able to represent our businesses properly. We conduct research. The second thing as part of our mandate is that we conduct advocacy for a better business environment in the country. The third one, part of our core mandate, is that we build capacities of the private sector in Uganda, the businesses, the associations, so that they are better able to compete locally and globally. So the fourth element of mandate is we are required to build partnerships and strengthen them so that they can be able to serve not only the business community in Uganda, but also other sectors and other facets of life that together combined make up what we call the economy.
Okay, well now that's important because we now see this apex body called the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda having quite a number of all these associations that have under them very many businesses. So then how is your operational structure or administrative structure at that, for example?
Yeah, now as I mentioned earlier on, we are established under the Companies Act. The Companies Act requires that for our sort of organization, we are established under that chapter of companies that don't have shareholding.
So that's
in
what
other
PSFU
words,
is?
Yes, we are a company but without shareholding.
Is
What
that by
we
guarantee?
do have, yes, is established by guarantee. What we have is members that have come together and they have guaranteed our existence. So they subscribe to our mission and vision and mandate, and they come together and form up the membership. So the 270 members create or have a governance organ, which is the board. The board is at the highest level, and the board is responsible for supervising management, for implementing, sourcing, creating policy and implementing the policy, but also ensuring that all the vision of PSFU is actually carried forward very well. Now that board, which comprises 12 key business people, is elected at the annual general meeting. We usually have an annual general meeting every November. Actually, our articles of association demand that we do have an annual general meeting 5 months after the close of the financial year. So our financial year closes in June, so 5 months is end of November. So we usually have our AGMs in November. So the board is elected for a for a period of 3 years. So at the AGM, the members sit. First of all, they are organized in 12 sectors. All of the sectors that bring the economy, that play a role in the economy. For instance, we have sectors like the manufacturing sector, which has so many members under us. These are the manufacturing association that you know.
Those are under
yes, the Small Industry Association and many others that are under there. Then you have the agriculture sector as well.
The farmers associations and quite a number of them.
Yes, there are many of them. Then you have the oil and gas and mining is a sector. You have the finance and banking is a sector. You have professional services like people who like accountants, lawyers, engineers, surveyors. They also form a sector, and so many other sectors, traders, and so on and so forth. So they each sit down and elect one person at the AGM. So that the group that they elect, because we are 12 sectors, those are the organization that form up our board. So after we have elected the board, so they sit down and choose among themselves who the chairman is. So for the current board, which was elected November 2019, the chairperson of the board is Honorable Dr. Eric Aluhanga, and he's really a very storied business person, corporate person, lawyer, and a social entrepreneur, as you know him. He's deputized by Honorable Dr. Victoria Sectoreko, who is also a household name. She's so passionate on matters of agriculture, and I think you very much know him, and many others. So we have a board of 12. Now this board of 12 now appoints the executive director and the management, and then the management appoints the rest of the staff. So this is how we are actually governed as private sector foundation.
Okay, well, very important. Let's talk about the members. What does it take for one to subscribe to be a member? Is it by default that once somebody gets into some particular business in the private sector, then they definitely have to be members of a PSFU, or membership is also just a willing exercise for somebody to get in?
Yes, we really encourage every business that is operating in this country to look out for its sector association. If you're working in manufacturing, please go and be a member of Uganda Manufacturers Association. If you're a small manufacturer, go and become a member of UZIA. If you're a farmer, go and be a member of the various associations that are within agriculture. If you are a professional, like you are a really enrolled lawyer, accountant, whatever, please join your sector professional associations. Uganda Law Society, Institute of Public Certified Accountants. First of all, be there. Now, those are the associations that in the end come to PSFU and become members. So the process of becoming a member, first of all, the eligibility that you are an association. An association that whose aim and mandate is you've been established to serve businesses, commercial interests. That is another requirement. So when you meet all of those two, you're an association and you are there for enhancing business, then you can choose among the two types of associations that we have in which you want to operate. There is a type which we call the ordinary associations. Now, these have better benefits than the lower category of associations. The lower category of associations are usually those associations that have just begun and will seek to be helped to grow further, and therefore probably even their resource capacity is not that big, and their needs in terms of governance, in terms of being given the capacity to work and they manage their members better is a bit higher. But for the upper group of the ordinary associations, those ones are a bit mature. So you can choose which one you want to participate in as an association. So now when you have decided that, then you sit down in your own board as the association and they make a resolution that you want to participate and be a member of PSFU. So get that resolution registered with the Registry of Companies, and then you get on our website right now, see the form, the application form, complete it on the website, scan and attach your resolution and a few documents that we request for. In some cases we request for evidence that you have records, you have audited accounts. So you attach these and send them to PSFU. If you are not doing it online, then you can actually download, print, and deliver all of these documents to us as Private Sector Foundation. So when we receive them, we vet them, we go over them, and then our membership committee reviews them, and if it finds them appropriate, then it presents it to the board for the board to enroll this one as a member. So when you are enrolled, you now are requested to pay this membership fee, and then the annual subscription. So that is how you become a member. For the corporates that I've said are fairly big and operate across sectors, and these are mainly multinationals and the very big local companies, you also go through the same process. You get a board resolution that decides that you want to be a member of PSFU, complete the forms, have them submitted, and then the committee and our board will process this within a very short time and get back to you. So that is how you become a member of PSFU.
Very important. Coming back to the issue of your existence, you've been here since I think August 1995, and we were talking about 26 years. Do you look at Private Sector Foundation as a household name, or if it's not, what do you think needs to be done for people to appreciate? Because we talk about your existence, which is a lifetime to many Ugandans today. When we talk about the Private Sector Foundation, many Ugandans do not have 26 years of age, and the private sector has been here longer than many of them. How do you feel that your name is not a household name, and what needs to be done to ensure that people do appreciate what PSFU is?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mr. Jagenda. First of all, we are really pleased that we've come this far. 26 years, as you said, is really a lifetime in Uganda, and in perhaps in Uganda businesses, because we know that not very many of them live to see beyond the 5th birthday. But for us, we are 5 times there, and we are here forever, I should say. Now, as PSFU, I'll tell you that we believe that we've touched very many people in this country, and many people know about us. But perhaps what remains for us to deal with is to be a little bit sharper, a little bit clearer in the way we present ourselves and in the way you understand us. Many of the people in the private sector know more about our work and don't know about us. I think it is something that creates a problem. It's just like many of consumers might know a particular brand. If you look at the corporate world, people might know whatever. Look at your favorite brand, but you might not necessarily know which company is behind that particular brand. I think this is what we try to realize, that people know us more from the things we do than knowing us as the private sector foundation. So that is the gap that we've realized, and we are working very hard to ensure that we are now able to associate, to let you as the private sector in Uganda and the general public associate us with those things you love so much about us, with us as private sector foundation.
Okay. During this period of the COVID-19 pandemic, there are certain things that we're just learning how to possibly do or even manage the situations. I want you to help me decipher what we mean by the private sector and the informal sector, because there is that informality also. When we talk about the private sector, we also couple it with informality and say, the private sector, the informal sector, trying to create an impression or to actually distinguish between the government and what is not the government. So when we do the public sector, which you all know is government, then away from the public sector, so anything that is not government, it's either private or informal. How do we manage? How do we manage it? What's the marriage there?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, you put it very clearly, very well. If you don't earn a government paycheck, you're actually a member, you're a private sector. It doesn't matter what you do. Whatever you do, as long as it is legal, you're actually a private sector. Now, it means the private sector is that overall big thing under which all of us generate a livelihood.
If we are not on the consolidated fund.
If you're not on the consolidated fund, you're in the private sector, and very few. I think they're about
very few, just
maximum,
500,000 or so.
500,000. So it means the rest of the
millions
workers
of
in Uganda,
probably
about 25 million. We're actually private sector people. Now, because of our growth and because of the level of development of our work, we can choose either to be formal or informal. Now, what it means to be informal is that you are not registered with the known business registration body. In Uganda,
The URSB?
Yes, the non-business body is Uganda Registration Services Bureau. So if you're not registered with Uganda Registration Services Bureau, then you are an informal operator. But there are also some other laws that where people register some organizations that are not, so that they don't all have to go to URSB. For instance, I know, for instance, there are cooperative groups which actually are registered under the Cooperative
The Ministry
Act,
of Trade.
Ministry of Trade. So if you have that registration of the Ministry of Trade, there's some government registration somewhere, then you are formal. People, you've been recorded in the records of the government. You are formal.
So informality is illegality, in other words, because you're not under any law, you're not under anything.
No, it is not an illegality, only that you are not registered. It's just like in our society today, our law requires that we register birth and death. But very few of us actually, when we get children,
remember to do that.
Remember to go and register our children. Doesn't mean that our children are illegal, no. Our children are legal.
Or when we don't register deaths, doesn't mean we didn't lose the people.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that people die, the people die. But they are not just registered. So this is the structure of our economy, that we do have two sides of the business establishments. The first side is those that are registered and known with the government. There is also another side of those that are not registered, but are also generating and doing services, goods, delivering goods, providing services that are very useful to the economy. They also contribute to taxes indirectly, and they are doing a number of things that are beneficial to the owners, are beneficial to the government and society. But there is a lot to lose by not being registered. And our duty as private sector foundation is to motivate as many of the business people to actually get registered. There are so many advantages. The biggest advantage to begin with is that if you want to grow, the people you want to associate with want to organizations or companies or business establishments that are registered. For instance, you want to supply some of your goods in a big supermarket, you want to supply to a big company, all supply to government. Many of them will now require you to present something that is that you are registered. So in terms of the building your business, you really have to be registered. So you should try to make sure that you're registered. Now, secondly, you also would like to the authorities to know about you. Now, if the authorities know about you, it means that the services can quickly come to you. For instance, we now have things that have come up during COVID for which government wants to support. For instance, you want to get to the small business fund when it comes through. I'm very sure they will be wanting to work with those registered companies. So if you're not registered, you will really miss out.
Okay.
Then there are those who want to work with the banks. You want to expand your business and you like to go to a bank and say, oh, can I have a loan? The bank will request you that you need to be registered. So it is not easy for you to build your business and develop it if you are not registered. Even us at Private Sector Foundation, we do have a lot of services, a lot of grants that are meant for you. But if you're not registered, you are excluded.
Okay.
You're excluded.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Acting ED, Mr. Francis Chisirinya. We'll take a break, but when we return from the break, I want you to talk to us about your 26 years of existence, what you've achieved, why somebody would actually even want to be a member of the Private Sector Foundation, the opportunities in there, and quite a number of things that we may not possibly have known, but fortunately that you are with us in studios you will help us understand this. We'll take a break and return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Getting good GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Echa COVID-19 kijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175 *94 hash to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175 *94 hash to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175 hash and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV value. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from the break. We continue our conversation about the private sector. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka on a Good Morning Uganda Extra today. And with me in studios is Mr. Francis Chisirinya, the Acting Executive Director of the Private Sector Foundation, here with us to talk about strengthening the private sector in this country and, of course, during this period of the COVID-19 pandemic. Back to you, Mr. Chisirinya. For 26 years, what can you talk about and say, yes, we've been here for 26 years, whether you've known what we've done or not known what we've done, but this is what we've done. What are these achievements?
Thank you very much. First of all, our biggest achievement as Private Sector Foundation is that we've been able to establish ourselves as that prime organization that represents the private sector in policy making. Policies are a very important thing to the private sector, and I would like to tell you, my colleague who is doing business, that these things called policies, these things called laws, are very crucial in your business. They will determine whether you succeed, whether you fail, whether you grow quickly or you don't grow quickly. So it is very, 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 very important. And we as private sector must always be ready to engage and talk with the policymakers in government and tell them what we expect they should be doing for us, what we expect the laws should be, so that we do have what we call a conducive business environment. So for us as Private Sector Foundation, we are very proud that we are consulted all the time by government on all policies that they make, especially policies that concern the private sector. We have contributed a lot over the last so many years on making the national budget. You will know very clearly that about 80% of the national budget, those issues that are economy related, 80% of those issues are generally influenced by Private Sector Foundation. We want it to be more than 80%, maybe be 100%, but it is a journey. So we've been able to establish ourselves in that kind of space, and we are consulted, we engage. not only in Uganda, but also at the East African level, at the EAC level, at the COMESA level, and now soon at the Continental Free Trade Area. We are also consulted. So we are very happy about this thing. And I would like to encourage all the associations that we have, please engage with us as much as you can so that we can ensure that we represent you and make sure that the policies that the government comes up with are conducive to your operation. Now, the second thing for which we are actually very proud of is in terms of the partnerships we have built over the last 25 years.
Okay.
Those of you who know or who run businesses, you know very, very much the value of partnerships to your businesses. For us to be able to deliver our mandate of representing you, of delivering capacity building to you, of serving you, we really need so many partners to work with. First of all, government is a very, very, very big partner to private sector foundation. We have every donor of a worthy name in Uganda has partnered with PSFU over the last 26 years. As we speak, we are working with so many donors in partnerships to deliver priority interventions in your businesses. There are those interventions that require you to organize your business better, to have records. There are those interventions that require you to improve your technology. There are those interventions that require you to present yourself better in the market through marketing. There are those interventions that require you to improve your quality and presentation of your goods, and also interventions in empowering your staff, in skilling them. So we've partnered with very many donors, the World Bank, the MasterCard Foundation, European Union, GIZ, DFID, and so many over the years to ensure that this work is actually, and as we speak, I'm proud to say that the private sector foundation has directly worked with over 50,000 businesses over the last 26 years, and we have played a role in improving some of your challenges and competitiveness issues at your businesses. Now, those are businesses that we have worked with. But when you look at the beneficiaries under those businesses, the workers that have been trained, and so on and so forth, there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands that have benefited from private sector foundation. So we are very grateful to government and all our partners for having worked with us on this. On this, we have also over the years, again working with the partners, been able to initiate very important programs that are helping to improve the businesses that we do, what we call enterprise development. We have initiated with them programs that help to create jobs in the country. We have initiated with them programs that improve our capacity to trade across the region. I'll give you a good example. Way back in the when the East African Community was just beginning,
67.
Yeah. The revival about 1998, 99, 2000, 2000, and so on and so forth. Our country, Uganda, we are very, very weak. Our manufacturing base was so weak. And here we are. The
revival of the ESN?
Yes, and here we are. We had to sign on things like the common external tariffs, meaning that the goods that are traded within East Africa are actually not subjected to external tariff. So what that means is that the companies in Uganda are going to compete directly with companies from other member states, Kenya, Tanzania at that time. And at that time, Kenya was so advanced in manufacturing, and we all the time as Uganda had to go down begging our partners, please allow us to import raw materials duty-free, and they keep on laughing at us. But in the end, they will give you that. But we understood as private sector foundation and the Uganda Business Committee that we needed to build our internal capacity. Look at what it is today. The tables have turned. it is other countries that are now telling us you cannot export your sugar here. You cannot bring your milk here.
You cannot bring your maize here.
Your maize here. You cannot bring. You can see that all of those achievements have come through a partnership that we have built and established as PSFU and cultivated it intentionally over the years. So PSFU is proud to have contributed to this journey. Now, as we speak today, the country is battling and struggling with issues of ensuring that we improve productivity at our companies, at our factories, in our farms, in all sorts of businesses that we are actually handling. What is the issue there? The issue there is that our people, the people we work with, don't have enough skills that can help them to improve productivity. So many times, countries would laugh at us that, oh, you need so many Ugandan to do a job one Kenyan
does. Yes, we used to
all those things
yes.
were there. Yes, it's because we had some skills gaps, and we are working to uplift the skills of our workers. And Private Sector Foundation Uganda is playing a massive role here. As I speak, we have been able to train, just in one program, about 70,000.
The SDF?
Yes, 70,000 people in our SDF program to upskill them. And we've got reports from the impact assessments that we have completed of how the employers are now happier with their staff. Their staff can do better. And the staff are happy too.
It's yielded results.
Yes, they're happy too. They're doing their work better. We have also done a lot of work under our MGF, Matching Grant Facility programs, over the years to now look at things, not only skills, but things to do with quality improvements. To improve quality, the number of things that go in there. Do you know the quality requirement that is needed? You know the quality standard that is needed? Yes. What does it take in terms of investment in equipment, in terms of investments in human resources, and so on and so forth? We have worked with companies to improve their quality standards. Actually, we have even gone beyond working with the companies to comply with the Ugandan standards. We have gone beyond Ugandan and are helping companies to achieve and obtain what we call ISO certifications. So many companies, maybe hundreds of them in Uganda, have worked with us to establish international standard organization certification systems, meaning that these are now companies that are operating at international level. No wonder we are able to compete with other countries. So we have done that. Now lately, we have also found and organized a new approach which we can use to build, to do what we call enterprise development, but at the same time create jobs. So we are thinking that we can still grow our businesses, but grow them with jobs. So the issue of jobless growth that the country experienced in some years, we are making some contribution. We're not saying that we are doing all of it, but we are making some contribution. How are we doing it? If you've, members of public, if you've heard about our Lady Farm structure approach, which aims at organizing value chains, but under a leading company. That model, that approach is helping us to intervene and generate growth at all the value chain actors, but also create jobs along the way. How do we do it? We've put together a 3-menu intervention. That menu, first of all, is to organize that structure and a lead firm. We identify a big company with the capacity to use its supply chain to bring in so many actors, so many players with it. And if they're young people, we are even happier. If they're women, we are most happy. Now, under that system, the lead firm commits to making investments in plant and equipment and says, I've been able to invest so much and I expect that I'll grow my raw material requirement by so many tons. And for me to get those tons, I need so many farmers to be organized to supply me. So we come in and work with this company to mobilize the farmers along the way, but organize them in such a way that, first of all, they get a contract from this company, so that whatever they produce, it will be bought. That's the first thing. The second thing, that this company communicates clearly what quality of the final product they need for them to buy, so that somebody does not now, after production, bring their product and they say, oh, sorry, this is not up to the quality. No, tell us from the very beginning. And then we work with experts from the company and outside the company to ensure that we are able to achieve that particular quality. Now, there are things that go along the way that have to come in to help achieve all of this. For instance, financial services. So we've partnered with some banks, and banks have agreed that if you have a structure, you have your suppliers within the structure, we can see their contracts to sell a certain amount of goods to this company. We are happy to extend loans without you giving us any security, without you giving us or showing us that this person has ever traded before. No history is required. And they extend the loan. So 4,000 people already have accessed loans like that.
Okay.
But in terms of the growth that we're expecting that all actors along this chain will be able to grow their businesses at least by 10% by the end of 5 years. And that will be creating jobs, decent jobs along the way. So our partner, MasterCard Foundation, is supporting us on this. And what we are seeing from the early results are very encouraging. For instance, we have so far signed about 22 lead firms. In other words, we have 22 value chains already structured in the way we want to work with them. We already see that there are about 150,000 job opportunities that are going to be created along the way after over the next 5 years. So ask yourself, isn't this really a huge contribution to our economy and the private sector and the younger people? So we have been able to contribute on that. Now the second area, which the fourth achievement, which we have achieved as PSFU over the years, is that we have been able to work with the government to improve our competitiveness as a country. So you are very well aware that every year the World Bank publishes what they call doing business ranking. And the investors around the world are looking at these things on doing business to ask themselves, is Uganda one of those places I should go and do business? Because every time they rank you, it shows that you are, it is easier to do business in your organization, so in your country. So what are the things that were stopping Uganda from being rated as good a country to do business in? Some of the things are as simple as, how long does it take you to register a business?
Exactly. And operate it.
Yes, and operate it. How long does it take you to complete a registration of, for instance, of a title of land? You know, how long does it take you to get an electricity permit? How long does it take you to get a trading license, to get a tax identification number, and all of these things? But I'm happy to say that the government, when we raise these matters under our mandate of representing our members were always saying, it is hard to do business, it takes us forever to register our business. When you go to the bank, it takes so many years or a very long time before a title can be verified, it can be registered. So the cost of doing business is high. So government accepted, and we thank them very much for that we as PSFU implement those interventions that are able to address those things that affect doing business and affect our ranking in doing business. So under our bank supported competitiveness and enterprise development program, we've been able to intervene and have massive reforms undertaken at the business registry.
Okay.
If you want to register a business today, it takes you a day at the maximum. If all your paperwork is okay, maximum a day. But you can even get a registration under hours, 4 hours you can. So that is one of the biggest things that we have achieved. We have also worked with the lands registry to modernize its systems, digitize them, decentralize and create land offices, registration offices, zonal offices and things like that. So there, we now can tell you that you can have your titles registered within 25 days. And this is a very big help to the people who are doing business.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Chirinya, for the achievements. I had a question that I would ask, but of course the achievements have actually covered it in there, to just know, apart from being a member and maybe doing advocacies, what are the other things that your members do benefit. Now that our time has run out, in the next maybe 2 minutes, talk to me about Kasita, for example. When you hear Kasita wanting to do demonstrations because of taxes now, there is an issue of taxes currently, of the different private sector players were saying they are now getting taxes from us in terms of kilograms, which is very outrageous. How are you helping in that particular scenario? How do you come in to complement, to supplement the works of Kasita in just about 2 minutes before you get out of studios, because that's another very hot one lately?
Yeah, thank you very much. And the members who are watching us outside there, you'll know that PSFU, as I said, represents its members. So we are representing Kasita, and we are working with Kasita together with our members to address policy challenges that are affecting the business community. So this time, ladies and gentlemen, with the COVID and all the things that it has brought, that have increased the cost of doing businesses. You now have to sanitize, you have to social distance, you have your suppliers have increased the prices, and so on and so forth. These things have increased the prices so much for the things that you need to stock and sell. Now, what we are engaging on with the government is to tell them that, you see, prices have increased so much, and the customers are now not that many.
Exactly.
Now, what you should help us as government is to do stimulus packages as one thing, but the second thing, also do things that don't increase the cost of doing business. And we have seen in the last financial year, or the financial year that we are now in, government increased taxes. Of course, these taxes increase the cost of doing business, the cost of things. Fuel was increased. Now you've just talked about textiles. Textile taxes were increased. Internet taxes. For the manufacturers, raw materials, you got, for instance, in the plastics, they got tax increases. So
cost of energy, cost of transport, the interest rates.
We're telling government, no, look, this shouldn't be the time for you to increase. Yes, you are under pressure to get money, but this should be the time, because we are all under problems, really. Let us not. So we have engaged together with Kasita and government to ensure that these taxes come down. We have engaged the Minister of Trade, we have engaged the Minister of Finance, we have engaged Uganda Revenue Authority on this, and we are seeing some progress. Already the URA published a statement the other day that about 90% of the textiles and fabrics that are imported in the country will not be charged using those kilogram assessment method, the 3.5 or $3 per kilogram. 90% of the garments are not going to be affected. But we still have a 10%, which we are still engaging on with the government, together with the Kasita, to see how that can be worked on. We have also worked on other areas, like in terms of the taxes on raw materials for plastics, and these have been stayed. We also continue to talk to government to find out if they can have a mechanism of reducing the excise tax on internet bundles, so that during this, after COVID, you know, almost everything, within COVID, everything has gone online. Okay? So we really need to have cheaper internet to be able to do e-commerce, to be able to trade, and succeed in this bad environment. So we really work with our members to advance their interests.
Okay. In just half a minute, do you have plans of making your name a household name? What do you want to be known for as PSFU? In just half a minute.
Certainly, as PSFU, our biggest interest that we become a very influential organization, an organization that can be referred to by government on anything that they want to do, by scholars, by the population. Everybody should know us. We should end up being an organization that is known and represented, even at the parish level. There should be somebody who knows about PSFU, who can help their other parishioners, if that is the word, on issues to do with the PSFU. So that is our dream, and that is our vision, and we will actually work to achieve that.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Francis Chisirinya, the Acting Executive Director of the Private Sector Foundation Uganda, for having allowed to join us this morning, and for talking to us about the private sector and your strength as a private sector in managing and building capacity in this country of Uganda. Thank you so much. And to our viewers, we thank you so much, and just promise you that very shortly hereafter, President Museveni will be passing out prison officials at Kololo, and I'm just very sure that this will be coming your way. But until then, just wishing you all the best for today. For God and my country, stay blessed. Remember, COVID is real, but we can still fight it together. For God and my country, stay blessed, and good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.